What if one tiny missing nutrient was quietly affecting your energy, your balance, your memory, and even the length of your life? Most people never see it coming. They blame aging. They blame stress. They tell themselves, "I'm just getting older." But the real reason may be something much simpler, and much easier to fix than you think. If you're over 50, this is one of the most important health conversations you could have with yourself. A hidden vitamin shortage can develop so slowly that you don't notice it until everyday tasks become harder. Climbing the stairs, taking a walk around the neighborhood, getting a good night's sleep, or simply getting up from your favorite chair may not feel the same anymore. The worrying part is that many people have no obvious warning signs until their body has been struggling for months, or even years. Today, I'll explain why this often overlooked deficiency matters so much, who is most at risk, the surprising symptoms many people dismiss, and the simple steps that may help protect your health before more damage is done. Some of what you're about to hear may completely change the way you think about normal aging. So stay with me, because the most important information is coming next. Not long ago, a retired school teacher named David began noticing small changes that didn't seem important at first. He wasn't in pain. He wasn't seriously ill. He simply didn't feel like himself. Walking to the local shops left him unusually tired. Some mornings, his feet felt strangely numb. Other days, he struggled to remember simple things, where he'd left his glasses or why he'd walked into the kitchen. Like so many people, David shrugged it off. "I'm getting older," he told himself. And perhaps you've said the very same thing. That's what makes this hidden problem so dangerous. It doesn't usually announce itself with dramatic symptoms. Instead, it quietly becomes part of your everyday life. You adjust. You slow down a little. You stop taking the longer walk. You choose the lift instead of the stairs. You go to bed earlier, hoping tomorrow will feel different. Little by little, your world becomes smaller. And because the changes happen so gradually, they almost feel normal. But here's the twist. What if your body wasn't simply wearing out? What if it was trying to tell you that something essential was missing? A single vitamin may sound insignificant. After all, it's tiny compared to your heart, your brain, or your muscles. Yet without enough of the right vitamin, every one of those organs has to work harder than it should. Think of it like trying to keep your home warm in the middle of winter with a weak boiler. At first, you barely notice. The house is just a little colder. Then one room feels chilly. Soon the whole house struggles to stay comfortable. Your body works much the same way. When an important vitamin runs low, it doesn't usually fail overnight. It compensates. It borrows. It adapts. Until one day, it simply can't anymore. That's when people begin noticing things they never expected. A tingling feeling in their hands. A burning sensation in their feet. Unexplained tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. Feeling unsteady while walking. Mood changes they can't explain. Even moments of confusion that leave them wondering if something more serious is happening. Here's what's surprising. Many of these symptoms aren't caused by old age itself. They are often signs that your body's cells aren't getting the support they need to work properly. And one vitamin, in particular, plays an astonishing role in keeping your nerves healthy, helping your brain communicate clearly, supporting the production of healthy red blood cells, and giving your body the energy it needs every single day. Without enough of it, the effects can quietly spread through your body in ways most people never imagine. But there's another twist that catches many people completely off guard. Some people eat a healthy diet, and still become deficient. How is that possible? The answer has less to do with what you're eating than with what your body is actually able to absorb. And once you understand why that happens, you'll never look at this vitamin, or your health, the same way again. At this point, you might be thinking, I eat well. I have eggs for breakfast. I enjoy fish now and then. Surely this can't happen to me. That's exactly what Linda believed. At 71, she rarely missed a healthy meal. Fresh vegetables, lean meat, plenty of water, she did almost everything she was told to do. So when she started feeling exhausted halfway through the day, she blamed poor sleep. When her hands occasionally tingled, she blamed the cold weather. When she became a little forgetful, she laughed it off. It wasn't until a routine blood test that she discovered the truth. Her body wasn't lacking food. It was struggling to absorb one essential vitamin. And that changes everything. Here's something many people don't know. As we get older, our stomach naturally produces less acid. Certain medications, especially those commonly taken for heartburn or acid reflux, can reduce it even further. Why does that matter? Because stomach acid helps release certain vitamins from the food you eat. If that process slows down, your body may absorb far less than you think. Imagine watering a beautiful garden every day. From the outside, everything looks perfect. But beneath the soil, the roots can't reach the water. Eventually, the flowers begin to fade, not because there wasn't enough water, but because they couldn't use it. Your body works in a surprisingly similar way. You can eat nutritious foods every single day. Yet if your body isn't absorbing the nutrients properly, your cells slowly begin to struggle. And here's the twist that catches many people by surprise. The first signs often appear in places you'd never expect. Your feet. Those strange pins and needles that come and go. A slight numbness that seems harmless. Feeling less steady when walking across the garden or stepping off the bus. Many people assume it's poor circulation. Sometimes it is. But sometimes, your nerves are asking for help. Then something else begins to happen. The tiredness becomes different. Not the kind that disappears after a good night's sleep. It's the sort of exhaustion that follows you throughout the day. You wake up tired. You rest. And somehow, you're still tired. That's because this vitamin plays a key role in helping your body make healthy red blood cells, which carry oxygen where it's needed most. When that process is disrupted, even simple daily activities can feel far more difficult than they should. But perhaps the most unexpected change happens inside the brain. People often describe it as walking into a room and forgetting why. Losing track of conversations. Searching for familiar words. Feeling mentally slower than they used to be. Most shrug it off as just getting older. But what if it isn't? What if your brain has been quietly asking for help all along? Now, it's important to remember that these symptoms can have many different causes, and they don't automatically mean you have a vitamin deficiency. That's why it's always wise to discuss persistent symptoms with your healthcare provider rather than guessing. Still, recognizing these subtle clues early can make a meaningful difference. Because the longer this hidden problem goes unnoticed, the more difficult it can become to fully recover from its effects. And here's the remarkable part. Some of the simplest daily habits can either increase your risk without you realizing it, or quietly help protect you for years to come. That's where the story takes an encouraging turn. There's one question that keeps coming up whenever people learn about this hidden deficiency. If it's so common, why don't more people know about it? The answer is surprisingly simple. Because the symptoms don't all appear at once. They are scattered. One day it's fatigue. A few weeks later, it's numb toes. Months later, your memory doesn't feel quite as sharp. By themselves, each symptom seems small. Together, they tell a very different story. And that's exactly why so many people miss it. Here's something that may surprise you even more. The people who are often most at risk are the very ones who believe they are doing everything right. Adults over 50. People taking medication for acid reflux. Those with digestive conditions. Vegetarians and vegans who don't carefully replace certain nutrients. Even people who simply assume that eating a balanced diet guarantees they're getting everything their body needs. Sometimes, it does. Sometimes, it doesn't. That's why listening to your body matters so much. Not every ache is old age. Not every forgotten name is just getting older. Not every day of exhaustion should be accepted as normal. Your body is constantly communicating with you. The real question is, are you listening? Now, here's the encouraging news. If you're concerned about this deficiency, don't start by buying every supplement you see on the shelf. That's another mistake many people make. More isn't always better. Different vitamins work in different ways, and taking large amounts without knowing what your body actually needs isn't a wise approach. Instead, begin with the basics. Eat a varied, nutrient-rich diet whenever possible. Foods like fish, eggs, dairy products, lean meat, and fortified breakfast cereals can be good sources of vitamin B12 for many people. If you follow a vegetarian or vegan diet, pay extra attention to foods fortified with B12 or discuss appropriate supplementation with your healthcare provider. If you've been experiencing ongoing fatigue, numbness, balance problems, or memory changes that don't improve, don't simply ignore them. A simple conversation with your doctor, and, if appropriate, a blood test, may provide answers you've been searching for. Sometimes the biggest breakthrough isn't discovering a new treatment. It's finally discovering the real cause. Think back to David. He believed he was watching his independence slowly disappear. But once the true issue was identified and treated under his doctor's guidance, he didn't become 20 years younger. Something much more meaningful happened. He felt like himself again. His walks became enjoyable instead of exhausting. His confidence slowly returned. The stairs no longer felt like a mountain. And perhaps the greatest gift of all, he stopped fearing that every new symptom meant he was simply getting old. That's a powerful reminder for all of us. Growing older is natural. Living with preventable problems isn't. Your age tells you how many birthdays you've celebrated. It doesn't decide how energetic, steady, or independent you can feel. Sometimes, the smallest missing piece can have the biggest impact. And sometimes, paying attention today can help protect not just your health, but the moments that matter most with the people you love. Because in the end, it's never just about one vitamin. It's about giving your body every opportunity to keep living the life you've worked so hard to build.